ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Indianapolis Speedrome in Indianapolis, Indiana. It is the spring shootout, 90 minutes of racing action. I'm Jeffrey Best alongside Tommy Mason.
Well, Jeffrey, this track is going to be the smallest track that we visit here on Outlaw Figure Eights, and it was high on excitement in qualifying Friday night between the 5 of Ben Tunney and Tommy St. John, and you caught up with Ben Tunney, your fast time qualifier and new track record holder, earlier today.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, down here in the pit area with Ben Tunney, who last night had a bit of an exciting moment go back and forth. Now, you oftentimes hear people talk about single car qualifying and that, oh, it lacks the excitement. There's not much fun to watch. But last night, something happened in qualifying. Maybe you can walk me through a little bit about what happened exactly.
Yeah, typically you guys are just watching cars go one by one and see who can obviously pull the fastest lap to see where we line up for our big feature. And I actually had the original track record from 2017. It was like a 16, I think, .018. And the way the track was, kind of cold and dirty from some of the other cars and cleaning up engine problems and stuff, no one really expected us to even get that fast, but I think the cool weather had us going a little bit better than normal. And Tommy St. John went out. He was like actually going to be the last qualifier of round 2, and I was planning on not even going out because I didn't really expect anyone to beat my time, and I really didn't think I could beat the first time I put up in round 1. I actually let my friend Matt Smith take my tires for qualifying to try to help him get a better lap for himself. Well, not knowing I was even going to go out again, Tommy knocked my time off. He went that 15.9, which broke the track record. Was the first person, obviously, ever in the 15 bracket. And well, right when he done it, there was only a few minutes left before the round 2 was over. So all the guys were like, oh, hurry up, Matt, get the tires off. Ben's going to try it again. And I thought, well, he done went out 2 more times since my first round. I really didn't think that, I could get any better, but I was like, I'm going to give it a try anyway. We'll see. And I put them on, and I think by him going out, it actually put heat in the tires. Being that it was a cool night with only 2 laps, it might have actually helped me. And when I got them on there, I just drove as hard as it would go. And I saw Tommy St. John kind of clip the corner markers like a curb on a road course, kind of almost putting half his car over one of the domes. And the way it bobbled, I thought it would hurt your grip coming down the straightaway, but I think the time that it cut off the corner benefited more than the grip it lost. So I took note of all that, and then I went out and put it. I said, well, if he can do that, I can do it even just a little bit more. And then I did it, and I didn't think I was going to go no 8, but the 15.870, I think, it was incredible. I was really shocked. I really didn't think it would mean or seem that neat to break the track record, because when I did it before, it really wasn't a big deal. But I think it was just the fact that it was in the 15s and the fact that it just got broke the time before, and I was able to back it up and defend it right then. That was what was neat about it. It's kind of like LeBron James coming through clutch in the 4th quarter after there's 3 seconds to go. Like, oh, they're beat. LeBron's done. He comes through and just nails the 3 and gets it back. It's like that's what you got to do when you want to be good and try to defend something like that, and I was lucky to be able to.
Well, so Tommy, really no shortage when it comes to the excitement down here during qualifying.
It was cool, like Ben Tunney said, and a new track record was surprising. However, the weather was perfect for it. Here's your starting lineup. This is going to be an exciting race. 90 minutes on a 1/5 of a mile oval figure 8 track, and there's going to be no room for any error.
This is the 2nd biggest race that this track hosts for these figure 8 cars, and we're getting ready to go green. Green flag is in the air. 90 minutes of racing coming your way.
Jeffrey, this is a tune-up for the 3-hour, but it's also a big paying $10,000 to win 90-minute figure 8 race on board with Mike Hadley Jr. Looking at the whole stack up.
It starts already. Tommy, when you're on a track this small, this is what's going to happen.
It is just nonstop. You can see these drivers running all over the course trying to find room, and we are already mixing it up through the crossover.
You mentioned a 5th mile size track. This is a small track. It's also a flat track, but these drivers can get up to speed, but if you're off the pace just a little bit, it is going to set you back very quickly.
Keys of this race, try not to go a lap down, especially early on board with the 28 of Shackelford, who climbs the tire.
That's not going to help.
And he has to dodge the traffic jam in the intersection. and these leaders coming through, and problems there. Looks like Hadley, who we were on board with, who got caught up in a stack up, flat right rear.
So early troubles for some already big contenders, but this is the survival point of this race. We always hear drivers talk about getting to a certain timestamp of these races, but the drivers, the leaders, Ben Tunney working his way. He's going to have to deal with that intersection at all points throughout this race.
Unbelievable. Look at these drivers trying to mix and match through this intersection, fight for position while staying ahead of your leaders. And on the opposite side, your leaders here, you see all of them trying to get through the intersection and make position. On board with Calvin Crane in the C4. He's in fourth at the moment. He's got to try to get around the 3T of Tunney, but also the lap traffic.
Yeah, there's a lot to deal with right here in this point of the race. You're following the drivers through. You also need to keep an eye on that intersection at all times. They work their way through. It looks like they're still going to squeeze their way through the intersection.
Austin Tunney, the man with no fear, having to hit the brakes there as a battle for the second spot. In fact, St. John up into the lead after Ben Tunney having to hit the brakes.
But this is what happens. We have an accordion effect, especially early on in this race, where leaders are jostling for position. That's the 16H of Jeff Harmon. Wasn't here yesterday for qualifying, so he's a fast car who had to start in the back. Oh, and speaking about a Harmon, we got a big wreck here in the intersection. Oh, a massive hit in the intersection.
Oh, Garrigus to third, and they're still wrecking. Garrigus to third, hitting the 6 head on, likely looking across the track for oncoming traffic, and up ahead of him with a stalled 6 of Chris Harmon, and the left front is stuck underneath that back end of the G4. Look at that damage on the 6.
There's nothing left of either of these cars. Huge accident here in the intersection early on, both for Harmon and Garrigus. They're going to definitely check in on these drivers, see how they're doing. Incredible to see the suspension underneath of this car.
We'll be back here, Outlaw Figure Eights on MAVTV.
When performance matters most, the pros trust Crown Performance. Constructed from Teflon, Kevlar, and stainless steel, Crown Performance brake lines exceed all industry standards, will hold up against the harshest conditions, and provide ultimate stopping power, whether it's for the street or the track. We offer customized sizes and colors to fit any application. Visit crownperformance.com to learn more. crownperformance.com. crownperformance.com. The quickest cars go in a straight line. The fastest drivers handle through the corners. But only the brave cross through the intersection. Outlaw Figure 8 Racing on MAVTV. With its close competition and hair-raising uncontrolled intersection, drivers dodge disaster twice each lap to battle for the win. Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern on MAVTV, Motorsports Network. MAVTV, Motorsports Network. If it has an engine, it's on MAVTV. Catch all the action from the mudslinging Lucas Oil short course off-road races. The excitement of the Lucas Oil late model dirt series. Thousands of horsepower pulling tons of steel. Watch it all on the only network dedicated to motorsports. MAVTV, Motorsports Network.
We're back at the Indianapolis Speedrome, and you see there, great to see Chris Harmon out of his car after a massive incident here in the intersection. Figure 8 racing is a danger, and we saw it here early tonight.
Absolutely. Happy to see Chris Harmon and Garrigus okay after this wild wreck here. Look at the replay, and Harmon was tiptoeing through that intersection, and Vanderhoof just surprised him, tagged the back of the 6, and this is where it got real ugly as Garrigus looking across to see cross traffic. And Jeffrey, it seems to be a common thing where these drivers, it's hard to multitask alone in a race. However, when the car stops, there's nothing you can do.
Early trouble, slow down the field, but we get ready for the restart. Green flag back in the air here at the Indianapolis Speedrome.
Bit of a change up front. It's now St. John and Connor up front as we're on board with the 86 of Basham. It was all sideways. A lot of horsepower, but not a lot of straightaway to use it.
A lot of wheel input going in for these drivers. This is a flat track. You get them sideways, they're not going to be saved by any banking. So you got to hold on to these cars, a lot of drivability.
And look how tight this field is. They are side by side, bumper to bumper on these rub rails. And these restarts, Jeffrey, there's just no room for escape.
No, and there's nowhere to hide on a track this size. Again, it's a 5th mile track. These drivers are going through the intersection 2 times a lap. They're already dealing with lap traffic. We just restarted. This is going to be going all night long. And again, it's half the length of 3 hours, so a lot of drivers are really kind of working in, how's the car handling? We want to prepare for that, but really, they're here to win tonight.
We provide the best video that we can, but video really does no justice here on this Indianapolis Speedrome. And with these skilled figure 8 drivers, look at that, already crossing through the intersection about 4 laps after the restart. And Connor all over the rear bumper of Tommy St. John. We can see a battle for the lead here in these next few corners.
It looks like the 43 makes his move to the inside, but can he hold it there? Intersection shot as the leaders work their way through.
Oh, everybody else having to snake through as well. Incredible action here early in this 90-minute spring shootout endurance race. Connor looks to take the lead going in to figure 8 turn number 3.
Tommy St. John was fast in qualifying. We talked about it earlier. But as these drivers work their way through, this is a lot of time where drivers that maybe struggled in qualifying, they're jostling for position, they're working their way back up. You want to do it quick. You don't have any time. That was an interesting looking thing.
Yeah, Vertree's coming back on track and right in front of that battle for 3rd between Jesse Tunney and Mark Tunney, with Ben Tunney right behind.
Oh man, they are stacked up going through the corners here. You need to preserve your car. You don't want to wreck it too early. You don't want to get hit in the intersection, and they almost did. It never gets old.
Matt Smith in the 87 with that daredevil move and back on board with Basham.
Oh gosh, you see the cars coming at you. I don't know how these drivers are able to maintain their heart rate as they go in these races.
Unbelievable. Look at this. You're involved. You're riding along with this battle for 4th. Unreal here as your 2nd place driver, Tommy St. John, has a gap now between he and the leader. So that 29 or the 43 either slowing down or speeding up. And look at these drivers.
Now, we've talked about it. We've shown races from Showtime Speedway where there is grass and you have a little bit less. Here, the drivers utilize every inch of pavement to get through that intersection.
Absolutely, and they can definitely do that pretty well. Back on board with Hadley, who's checking.
I don't even understand.
Like, they don't stop and measure the distance. They just hope for the best. Super skilled race car drivers here. Oh, some contact.
So
Sizemore.
You're saying they cut once and measure never?
Correct.
All right.
Oh my gosh. Oh man.
Uh-oh, that's not where you want to get stuck in the intersection. Right in the middle. We've seen this cause problems before. The 7 machine yelling for a caution, and it looks like it's going to come out.
Oh, Austin Tenney, he is fuming. Look at him inside that driver's cockpit. He is throwing a fit in there, trying to make sure they know.
I think he took off his steering wheel and everything.
He is desperately trying to get a caution, and he finally gets it, but now he's upset because...
Now he's upset.
I guess you're right. He was upset from the start.
I think he's ready to pick up his car and go for a walk.
Clearly trying to show the officials that he needs a bump start. That's why Jesse Tunney's showing up here. We'll be back here for more Outlaw Figure 8s from the Speedrome.
Welcome back to the Indianapolis Speedrome Spring Shootout. 90 minutes of racing, a couple incidents early slowing down some of the racing action. But you see on the front row, Mark Tunney and Connor in the 43.
Mark Tunney won the inaugural Spring Shootout race here a couple of years ago. He's trying to go for another one, but John Connor in that 43 RD, he's running the track car, if you will, sponsored by the Indianapolis Speedrome, and trying to keep that 43 up front. Action all over. That was an awesome speed shot camera in figure 8 turn number 4. As you can see, that 43 starting to pull away.
A lot of sideways cars here early on. These drivers just wheeling and dealing, working their way again, setting themselves up. You don't want to lose a lap early on in this race. As you see these drivers working through traffic into turn number 1, they're just non-stop battling all race long.
Narrow track, narrow room for error. These drivers trying to tip throw it, and really all this horsepower on this flat track that you alluded to earlier, these drivers really having to use finesse and keep those tires under themselves as it's an hour-and-a-half race.
Riding along with Jeff Harmon here in the 16H machine. Oh, a huge hit!
And that's your leader.
Your leader involved in a massive incident in the intersection, and they're
Tommy
still wrecking.
St. John. Tommy St. John, your top 3 involved. 2 of your top 3 involved in this wreck. Harmon taking a big shot with the 43 of Connor.
We've seen these races sometimes go for long green flag stretches, but Tommy, tonight, fortune is not on the side of these drivers, especially the ones up front.
Oh my gosh, the leader, John Connor, the Terminator, out while in the lead. And we talked about how the 16H of Harmon not even taking time yesterday. He wasn't even on property, having to drive his way through the field. And it looks like just luck ran out for that fast, always fast 16 of Harmon.
Yeah, the Louisville, Kentucky native. Let's take a look back at this. Oh, we talk about hesitation and how dangerous it could be, and these drivers try to read the fields. Oh my gosh. I mean, it's when it comes to this kind of incident, you almost can't place blame.
No. I mean, 2 drivers with the same agenda, getting through first. And here's where trouble for St. John. He came to a stop at the intersection, and Vanderhoof hard on the brakes, but still couldn't slow down in time. Unfortunate for Harmon and Connor, they're done for the race. We'll be back for more here at the Speedrome.
When performance matters most, the pros trust Crown Performance. Constructed from Teflon, Kevlar, and stainless steel, Crown Performance brake lines exceed all industry standards, will hold up against the harshest conditions, and provide ultimate stopping power, whether it's for the street or the track. We offer customized sizes and colors to fit any application. Visit crownperformance.com to learn more. crownperformance.com. crownperformance.com. The quickest cars go in a straight line. The fastest drivers handle through the corners. But only the brave cross through the intersection. Outlaw Figure 8 Racing on MAVTV. With its close competition and hair-raising uncontrolled intersection, drivers dodge disaster twice each lap to battle for the win. Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern on MAVTV, Motorsports Network.
A lot of people know racing in Indianapolis, and this track's not too far away from a certain track. But this, Tommy, this might be the one that a lot of people will be talking about tonight.
I think this is definitely the greatest spectacle in racing here, especially with these type of drivers. We're back green, and now Basham, can he have anything to do with that 3T of Mark Tunney, who inherits the lead off of Connor's misfortune? And here is 23 of Eddie Van Meter creeping on up into the top 3.
Yeah, that wreck really kind of reshuffled who we're seeing up front. Mark Tunney, we saw him working his way up through the pack, but a couple other drivers now making their presence known as they work through. Again, I want to point out this 32 machine. I don't know how many times he's made it through the intersection, but Shiner Sutton ain't giving up tonight.
Not at all. Hey, it's, you know, you could have a fast car and a winning car, but you could also be like Shiner, who always finishes the race. I've never seen the 32 DNF out of a race. And yeah, he might be a few laps down, but he's always here to support at the Speedrome or any other racetrack around. Tommy St. John back on track, but 1 lap down to your leaders who are directly behind him. On board with the C4, Dynamite Calvin Crane, who's battling up front as well. You can see Van Meter right ahead. He's just got that 12 machine in his path. He's a lap down. That's Brandon White. But Calvin Crane, he's doing a fantastic job here tonight.
Now I'm watching these cars going over these bumps that they have in the corner that are supposed to keep drivers from cutting the corner short. We heard in qualifying that the drivers were cutting it short, but how much of a risk is it to do that during the race?
The more you hit that curb, the more that suspension, the more that everything bolted to these cars start shimmying up and loosening up. Back on board with Ben Tunney as he's alongside Calvin Crane, so we're seeing the opposite end of the battle here. But you're going to have to worry about the mechanicals after you hit that repetitively. There's 4 curbs And drivers oftentimes hit all 4 of them each lap.
Now, Tommy St. John, we just saw him battling for the lead a little bit earlier on, but now it's kind of a race for survival.
Yeah, he's stuck a lap down trying to stay ahead of Mark Tunney, because if he goes 2 laps down, the race for him gets even more harder as he's got pressure behind and, of course, lap traffic up front. And in this situation, you feel for the guy because he's got a car that could easily be leading the race.
Right, we saw it earlier.
Tommy St. John really under pressure now. Mark Tunney has his nose right up alongside.
And look what this does, though. The battle for the lead is now 3 cars. Tunney was by himself, makes it through again. But this is the accordion effect that we talked about, because, again, you got a track this small, you have these drivers working through it, you have to avoid cars in the intersection, and then that causes these buildups of lap traffic to happen right in front of your leader, and next thing you know, everybody's showing up behind.
Watching them navigate through, almost trouble, but a great avoidance by Swinford. And you can see where that hesitation can definitely stop your momentum. Swinford now at risk of going more laps down. Shackelford lost a ton of time in that as well. He had to come to a stop. Basham closing in slowly but surely to Mark Tunney. However, Tommy St. John still ahead of the 3T at the moment.
Yeah, things calmed down a little bit in front of Mark Tunney, and now he's been able to gap second and third a little bit more. Tommy St. John all over the rear bumper of the 52 machine. These drivers all fighting to stay just in contention. The least amount of laps that you go down in these races, yeah, you might go down 3 or 4, but if you can prevent going down any more, in the chance that a caution comes out, that is going to help reset the field and get you maybe back to set up to pass more cars.
And right now, Tommy St. John is praying every minute of this race at the moment as time clicks away that a caution comes out. He needs a caution desperately, but here comes Mark Tunney looking to his outside.
Gonna throw the block. Yes, he is. Going into the corner. These drivers, they know that they're capable of potentially getting back. It's just avoiding circumstances that are going to put you behind. And Tommy St. John, in a very kind of odd scenario, because it wasn't the initial wreck, it was almost avoiding a wreck that had already happened. But that damage, that's going to add a little more damage to this.
That's not going to help, but Basham, he's now around Mark Tunney, battle for the lead through the intersection.
Side by side into turn number 1, and they are beating and banging in front of your leaders. Don't count out the 23 machine. Don't count out the 80th Murphy now moving in on this battle.
Oh, man, your top 4 all on the screen, battling through this lap traffic with 59 minutes remaining. In this 90-minute race, unbelievable action that never seems to slow down here at the Speedrome. Might be the smallest track for Outlaw Figure 8 racing, but definitely the biggest on excitement.
Looked like we had a car that was stalled, there in the intersection of the 12 machine.
That's Brandon White.
Oh, and watch out.
Oh, he fires it up and gets it going, so good for him.
Oh, wow, almost lost the right front of Ronnie Basham. Working through lap traffic right here, going to the inside, zigzagging through, sees Mark Tunney just ahead.
And Tommy St. John falling behind the leaders 2 laps down now for that 29 machine.
I don't know if they can get it.
And a big battle for third right behind him.
Oh.
Murphy getting by, wiggling by the 23 of Eddie Van Meter.
I was going to ask, can you do 3 wide through these corners? We'll find out what's going to happen after the break. Back in the Indianapolis Speedrome, the green flag is still out. Finally got away from these cautions. 90-minute race, it goes by quickly. We're riding on board with Calvin Crane, and now checking out this battle for second.
Ronnie Basham, Donnie Murphy, 80 machine. He's on a tear here tonight at the Speedrome. Qualified deep in the field, but on his way forward. And the 80 machine going to get by the 86 of Basham.
Yeah, that 12 car, they're working their way around, just not having a good night tonight for White, but not giving up sideways for Murphy in that 80 machine. And we've seen it already. The lap traffic cars aren't afraid to use those bumpers. Oh, but that's not the way you want to use it. And that's Crane, who was having a great run tonight.
Oh, bummer for the C4 of Crane, but also as equally a bummer for Basham. Both of those cars doing fantastic here tonight, and unfortunately getting caught up in the intersection.
Well, now I'm regretting that I mentioned that we had been green.
jinxed. That was the commentator's curse. Look at that damage. The C4 of Crane there, 5th place before that wreck, and you can see that right rear is used and abused. Ronnie Basham III walking over to check on Calvin Crane.
Both of these cars were on the lead lap.
Yep, they were in the top 5. And it looks like some respect there, maybe a little bit of apology. Either way.
Are you sure that's not Alex Bowman?
We'll find out. I don't know. It could be Jamie McMurray.
That's
but
true.
Unfortunately, 2 of your top 5 getting tangled up here. And Basham, he knew he was in trouble. He tried to find an escape route, but just couldn't get the whole
I mean, look at that.
Right.
That car's nearly going the opposite direction to oncoming traffic. Look at Crane's car lift up off the ground.
Ooh, and Tommy St. John
Almost involved again.
on board with Crane, and he can see disaster coming. He
Tried
has
to crank it, just too little too late.
And this is no fun either. Look, he's trying to still drive and get away from these cars, but his car's not going anywhere.
That's an unsettling feeling sitting there watching oncoming traffic. I can speak from experience. I've been there before. We're going back to racing though. Cleanup is done, and Mark Tunney and Ben Tunney on the front row.
Ben Tunney unfortunately falling a lap back early in this race. However, the battle is between the 3T and the 80 machine. Also want to point out, Van Meter outside of the top 3 because he has come into pit. So we're going to find out how that 23, he's a lap down. He's got to make his way through the field technically twice if he wants a shot to win it. With as many minutes still left to go, still under 40 minutes left in this race, anything can happen. As you can see, the Russian cars and Van Meter go by.
I want to talk a little bit about the dynamic of these cars. You see these big wings, and Tommy St. John, it looks like one of his is starting to go away, so things going from bad to worse for that 29. But what are those wings serving a purpose for?
Well, Jeffrey, a lot of these drivers use them as sponsored billboards. However, they're a lot more technical than that. You can see the battle for the lead here between Murphy and Tunney. This is all about side bite, side force, aerodynamics. These cars, once they start peeling off that side wing, you're going to lose a lot of grip and a lot of speed to the corner. So unfortunately for Tommy St. John, still surviving, still racing after everything he's been through, this race is going to get even more complicated.
All about preserving your car, preserving the tires. You mentioned that one of our drivers had come into pit. It looks like some zigzagging going through the field just to work his way up through the pack.
And he is coming for tires, so everybody else staying out. You can't pit, you got to time it right. And a lot of these drivers use a bigger wreck to use that timing.
And that is Van Meter that we're talking about.
That's 23 of Eddie Van Meter, who you saw battling inside that top 3 before the Calvin Crane and Basham wreck. So he used that as an opportunity to get some 4 fresh tires. He's also taking a gamble because this race could go green and he might stay a lap down. It could have a lot more cautions and he might end up back up front. It's a gamble out here, and one of the interesting dynamics here of this Outlaw figure eight racing endurance style.
Yep, there is strategy that goes on, but to add to it, these drivers don't have communication with the crew chief. They're just going off of hand signals, old school style stuff of these drivers being able to communicate with the people in the pits. See Mark Tunney.
Oh man, Murphy giving Mark Tunney all kinds of pressure right now. Good to see Murphy because he's had his string of bad luck here at the opening of this Outlaw figure eight on MAVTV. He's been in the wall at Showtime Speedway. He's running up front now, battling with Mark Tunney for the win here in this 90-minute spring shootout.
See these cars pouring through the corners. We're keeping an eye. 3 cars on the lead lap.
Hang on a second. I want to see if this camera can show. Is that the 23 of Van Meter? Tommy St. John 2 laps down, but I believe the car behind him is Eddie Van Meter.
Already?
It is.
So Van Meter now, his whole goal is getting that lap back.
He's got to get by the 3 and the 80 for that lead lap spot to get onto the lead lap. And Eddie Van Meter flying through the field right now. You saw him buried in traffic at the restart. And there he is, right behind the 2 lap down 29 of St. John, who unfortunately had the fast enough car to be up there with him. Just luck is not on his side here right now.
Great battle for the lead between Mark Tunney and Murphy working through lap traffic.
That's Winford there in the 2, but we're going to see how this all shakes out. Can Van Meter get on the lead lap? We'll find out after the break.
When performance matters most, the pros trust Crown Performance. Constructed from Teflon, Kevlar, and stainless steel, Crown Performance brake lines exceed all industry standards, will hold up against the harshest conditions, and provide ultimate stopping power, whether it's for the street or the track. We offer customized sizes and colors to fit any application. Visit crownperformance.com to learn more. crownperformance.com. crownperformance.com. The quickest cars go in a straight line. The fastest drivers handle through the corners. But only the brave cross through the intersection. Outlaw Figure 8 Racing on MAVTV. With its close competition and hair-raising uncontrolled intersection, drivers dodge disaster twice each lap to battle for the win. Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern on MAVTV, Motorsports Network. MAVTV, Motorsports Network. If it has an engine, it's on MAVTV. Catch all the action from the mudslinging Lucas Oil short course off-road races. The excitement of the Lucas Oil late model dirt series. Thousands of horsepower pulling tons of steel. Watch it all on the only network dedicated to motorsports. MAVTV, Motorsports Network.
Back here at the Indianapolis Speedrome, the spring shootout 90-minute endurance race, and the field under caution slow because problems for the 80 of Murphy running in the second spot, and problems for that 80 machine getting tagged with the 87 of Matt Smith and eventually ending up at the wall. Donnie Murphy out of this race.
You see the frustration there. Once again, we're talking about drivers that were having good runs. So we get back to racing, green flag in the air, and Ben Tunney once again, well, I was going to say try to get one of his laps back, but he's going to slip wide and lose touch with the leaders.
It's one of those things, Jeffrey, where you hear drivers talk about all the time. You got to be up front to put yourself in a good position. While that can be true, it also can hurt you. Eddie Van Meter, with all that problems, back on the lead lap, 4 fresh tires, battling for the second spot. Not even a battle. He takes it around Jesse Tunney.
Takes it right away. Less than 15 minutes left to go in this race, and Mark Tunney, with older tires, is going to have to hold off the 23 of Eddie Van Meter, who has driven his way completely through the field. He looks at the inside going into the corner. Tunney's going to fight him for it, and they're both going to have to deal with Shiner Sutton, the lap car.
You got to wonder if the 3 and everybody else are wondering, man, should we have pitted? Is it too late? I don't know, because the 23 is clearly on a rail right now.
At this point, it might be too late. I don't know if they do have the opportunity with another caution flag to come out. That's going to be a lot of track position you're going to have to make up. And Mark Tunney still holding off Eddie Van Meter. Can Mark Tunney, does he have a good enough car? We know he's a good enough driver, but does he have enough car to hold off the 23 machine? Again, Van Meter looks to the inside. He's just peeking the nose every lap to see if he can get the position on the 3T.
Oh, trouble for the 12 with White. He did the 360, keeps on going. We still stay green, and this battle ain't done.
A little bump tap there. Van Meter letting Mark Tunney know, hey, I'm here. He dives to the inside. He rubs right against some trading paint through the corners, and Van Meter is going to take the lead.
13 minutes left to go, and it's been a 90-minute overall race. Still trying to figure out who's going to win.
So does Van Meter? Looks like it. He's going to just pull away here with better tires. You know, Mark Tunney right now is just looking at this probably going, are you kidding me? I've led all these minutes of this race, and where's Van Meter coming from now?
Oh, man, he came from out of town. He came from a lap down and up into the lead. That 23 of Eddie Van Meter, he's been on a tear this year, running up front at Florida, running in the lead right here at the Speedrome. That 23 is fast everywhere he goes, but equally just as fast as the 3T of Mark Tunney, who won the 200-lapper at Showtime Speedway and was leading up until now.
Van Meter, I thought, was going to pull away from Mark Tunney, but Tunney's actually been able to hang right in there, and I'm also not counting out this one machine.
Yeah, Jesse Tunney, the Outlaw, just kind of in the third spot, though. He is slipping back more and more to your leaders.
Lap traffic.
And they are back with that accordion effect. nose to tail.
12 minutes left to go in this race. They've been racing for 90. Mark Tunney is able to get back to the rear bumper of Van Meter. We still have a race on our hands for this win.
And they are clipping the curbs, fighting through lap traffic. These two nose to tail, it's almost like you forgot it's a figure 8 race.
So Van Meter protecting that inside line. Tunney with a higher entrance, maybe looking for a little bit of momentum off of the corner. You see him just searching. Go where the 23 is, and we know these drivers aren't afraid to use those front bumpers if they got to use them. With lap traffic in the way, you see Shackelford where they're going to go.
Van Meter goes high. Mark Tunney looking for a way around as well. He's going to have to tuck back in behind.
Ooh, that did not help Mark Tunney. You see, he's still being held up by the 28 machine.
And that allows the one of Jesse Tunney to start reeling back in, battle through the crossover.
Oh my gosh, as you said, a reminder, we're still figure 8 racing. There's still danger through the intersection every time, twice a lap, and the lap traffic right now is holding up Eddie Van Meter. Van Meter looks to the inside. Tunney trying to figure out where to go.
Oh, he's trying to read this lap traffic as much as that 23 is doing as well, having to stay right behind the 23, which this lap traffic, I don't want to be Mr. Obvious, but it also slows down not just your leader, but Mark Tunney as well.
Well, it's not going to slow down Shiner Sutton, I'll tell you that much.
No, absolutely. Jesse Tunney, he is buried now in lap traffic, so he might be out of this two-car duel as these two battling through lap traffic.
Contact at Van Meter! Narrowly avoids getting caught up with the 2 machine, but now Mark Tunney looks to the inside, side by side going into the corner. This is a race for the win.
And Jesse Tunney's arrived. He's back into this battle. 3 cars duking it out with 10 minutes left to go.
10 minutes. This is the closing stages of the race. Van Meter doing everything he can to hold off Mark Tunney. Mark Tunney doing everything he can to even have a chance of passing Van Meter. And now you see Jesse Tunney right on the rear bumper of these drivers racing for the win.
Your top 3 with less than 10 minutes to go, all bumper to bumper, nose to tail here at the Speedrome, and it's a figure 8 race.
Oh my gosh, the fans are going nuts here at the Speedrome. Always good racing here in Indianapolis, and we're seeing why this is the capital of figure 8 racing. Van Meter trying to hold off Mark Tunney. Jesse Tunney just looking for a chance, riding in the shadows of this battle for the lead, and lap traffic and intersection traffic continuing to affect this battle.
On the rear bumper there, just giving him a little touch saying, hey, don't forget, I'm still here. But with all those fresh tires, props on Mark Tunney for being able to hold on. However, Van Meter, could he have burnt up his tires getting up through the field?
He had a lot of work to do on those tires. He's had them on for a while. Eventually, you are going to kind of see a balance out. But Mark Tunney looks again to the inside, bumps off the bump, and he's going to get into the side of the 23.
But still, Van Meter holding on, Mark Tunney on the stripe. These two just non-stop, relentless battling up front. Now they've got a clear track. I feel like it's going to be anything goes.
I'm surprised because Van Meter came through the field so quickly. I thought that once he got around Mark Tunney that this was going to be it. But Mark Tunney is doing everything he can to hold on to that 23 machine, not letting him go. It's like he's got a hook to the back of it, and he's fishing for a big one.
And I'm enjoying Jesse Tunney in third because he seems like he's struggling to keep on pace, but then all of a sudden, he's right on the rear bumper.
Maybe Jesse's right where he wants to be. Maybe with this battling in front of him, he's been able to preserve his equipment a little bit. Maybe his tires are looking better than the top 2.
Very true.
All 3 of these drivers have a chance to win it. They know it. Less than 8 minutes to go in this race, and it comes down to this. How does this happen so often with figure 8 racing?
Oh, man, it is just amazing action every time, and these drivers, they are trying to figure out the shortest distance around a 1/5 of a mile. You can see them clipping the curves, cutting it as low as they can through the corners. And Eddie Van Meter, if he has a rearview mirror, I'm sure he threw it out a long time ago.
The biggest thing right here is don't take yourself out of the contention for the win. All 3 of these drivers have worked as hard as they could, with some luck thrown in to be at this stage of the race with a chance to win it. Now, don't make mistakes. You're riding along, you're Mark Tunney riding right behind. He's gonna go to the high side. See if this is gonna work.
Oh, up in the marbles, holding on to it, keeping at that 23 store. but Van Meter just too strong here at the closing end of this race. Mark Tunney, Jesse Tunney still in the fight with 6 minutes and 50 seconds left to go, and we're gonna see that intersection come back to play.
We're going to see lap traffic come back to play here. White gets out of the way. How about this? Jesse Tunney, he's in the mix of this one now. He gets to the side, gets to the door, and is working to get past Mark Tunney. That one machine is here to play.
Jesse Tunney just keeps surprising me at this closing end of this race. Now he's going for the lead. He's on the stripe, making contact with Van Meter.
Jesse Tunney, maybe he was able to preserve his equipment. Closing in on 6 minutes left in this race, and the one machine battling up with your top three.
Eddie Van Meter, he probably enjoys what he's seeing behind, but every lap it's like they are just right up on his rear bumper. He's doing everything he can. He is fighting so hard to stay on that lead. And Jesse Tunney now passing Mark Tunney for second.
As a short track racing fan, these are the races that you dream to see when you go to the racetrack, and we're seeing one here tonight at the Speedrome. Lap traffic coming into play. Jesse Tunney, he's gonna thread it, looks to the inside, slams into the side, and we are 3 wide for the lead.
Unbelievable. Lap traffic up ahead. Van Meter's still hanging on to the lead as the Tunneys are right behind.
How long can they keep this up? They are racing so tight. The one machine all over the rear bumper. Mark Tunney, Van Meter slips to the inside of her trees, and now we're gonna once again, now Mark Tunney goes from third to the lead.
It just keeps shuffling the deck. I can't believe we saw 3 wide.
Door slam.
And we're gonna see 3 wide
Tunney
again.
to the inside, 3 wide for the lead again. Now the one machine takes the lead.
Jesse Tunney from third up to the lead, and they are bouncing off the curbs. Baja Racing on a figure 8 course.
This is incredible racing here at the Indianapolis Speedrome. Jesse Tunney leads a lap. The 23 Van Meter gets to the inside. They get together.
Up into the wall, they are stuck. Unbelievable turn of events here after a fantastic battle.
No.
Mark Tunney, the only car surviving that top 3 battle. We're gonna see how it all plays out after the break.
After an incredible battle for the lead, the race is not done. 90 minutes of racing here at the Indianapolis Speedrome, but Mark Tunney, his life just got a whole lot easier.
He is a lap ahead of the 1 and the 23. However, those two are still going to battle for the second spot. Mark Tunney on his own island, 1 lap ahead. Doesn't mean that these two are out of the fight, because they have to battle for second in case Mark Tunney has a mechanical issue with time still on the clock.
We've seen so many issues for leaders in this race. You're right. I would not count out anybody having an issue in this race. Look at the one machine. And again, second isn't necessarily a position that you're gonna sniff at. That's a good payday.
And especially with these two fired up probably from that incident, this might be one hell of a battle for second.
I don't know. I don't know who's more mad at who right now amongst those two.
Unbelievable stuff that we've been seeing here. Less than a minute and a half to go in this 90-minute endurance race at the Indianapolis Speedrome. Jeffrey, this is just a 90-minute race, but the 3-hour figure 8 race is coming up here in September at the Indianapolis Speedrome. Jeffrey, you and I are excited to broadcast it and just be there in general. If any fans have never been to the Indianapolis Speedrome, that is their marquee event, the 3-hour figure 8 World Championships. And this race happens to just be half the action.
So what you're saying is don't miss it live.
Don't miss it. Just don't, either be there or tune in, because you do not want to miss out on the race that's double the distance of this exciting 90-minute race. Mark Tunney still ahead by a lap, just kind of probably picking up his jaw off of what happened in front of him to inherit the lead. Not that it was a big surprise. That 3T has been fast here tonight.
No, but this is definitely probably not how we expected to get it. With less than 30 seconds left in this race, Mark Tunney, once again, set himself up, put himself in position. Did he have the best car at the end of this race? Maybe not. I don't think he did. But he was able to keep it in contention. Mistakes were made, and he was able to take advantage of those in the final 10 seconds of this 90-minute excursion here at the Indianapolis Speedrome. Mark Tunney comes out of the final corner, and he will take the checkered flag.
And he's doing a signature slide to victory lane as a 3T, the marksman, Mark Tunney, outlast. He endures 90 minutes, which was not easy for these leaders, but he endures the whole race to win and slides into victory lane.
Tonight just reminded us of why we at Low Budget TV never miss one of these races.
Sending it down to Scotty Keene with Mark Tunney.
After race strategy here. Congratulations, Mark. You were good. Talking with your team here, having a discussion after the race, not before the race.
Yep.
Wow.
Let me go ahead and yell at him real quick. We get a caution. I see Van Meter, he pitted early, and I knew he had good tires and stuff. I come around there under a long caution. Donnie Murphy's up into the fence. I hated that for him. But long story short, I knew where all my crew was, Dad, all them guys I drive around there. I'll be damned if they ain't all gone. Well, I need to know. We don't have any communication and stuff, so I am fired up. I'm mad. If there was a mic in there, you'd have to bleep every word. But they're all gone. And then a couple of them are like, what do you want to do? I'm like, well, I don't know. I mean, you tell me, are they ready for me to get tired? I had to vent, man. I'm so wired. I don't know how all y'all were able to sit in the seats for that one between that showdown. That was beyond insane. It had to be. Glad Low Budget TV caught this one because, man, this is I didn't want to burn it down and kill the rear end and stuff, but God, getting a win like that, you know, Jesus, man, that's just had to be awesome to watch.
Yeah, it definitely was a clash for the cash. That's right. So who you want to help on this car, or thank on this car, sir?
Pete Shuffett with Shuffett Snapple Auto Care out of Louisville. Big B with 2 little B's. Royal Purple, Branham Corporation. My dad with T8 Race Cars. This happened to be the second race for this new car here, and she is pretty sporty. So Jesse looked good at the end too. He come at me and Eddie. Man, it was he got up into me going into one and instantly threw his hand out and kind of hit the brakes to give me that was class act. I mean, we had an awesome battle. You know, I knew it was going to be, you know, grinding. We're going to bump and bang and this and that. But, you know, much respect to him. Thanks for, you know, the hard racing and stuff. It was unfortunate for them, too, the way they kind of got hooked and up the track they went. Fortunate for me and my dad and my crew. My little girl, she's awake. That's good. But thank you, all the fans. Kevin Garrigus for putting on this show. Damn Indiana weather, man. It needs to get itself together, but at least we got this race in tonight, and it was worth it.
Yes, let's bring in Kevin and his son Jacob here. We got a little check here for you, Mark. Shouldn't say little, but it's going to look nice when it goes in the bank and nice on the wall. Let's hear it once again for Mark Tunney, $10,000 winner tonight in your 90-minute race.
Not bad, 10 grand for 90 minutes worth of work. It was a hard fought, 90 minutes worth of work though.
Oh yeah, what a race it was. Cool to hear the sportsmanship. You know, Eddie Van Meter and Mark Tunney beating each other up out on that racetrack, and hey, Mark's throwing him some props. So, Tommy, they race hard at this track. The Indianapolis Speedrome, we see it every week out here, but you know, these drivers still got the respect that they understand what they're doing. They understand that short track racing is going to have a lot of beating and banging, and we saw it here tonight while figure 8 racing through a crazy intersection.
Absolutely. I cannot wait to come back here again for the 3-hour endurance special here. A 2-part episode. That'll be later on in the season here on Outlaw Figure 8s on MAVTV, but a big special thanks to everyone involved here. The highlights are rolling. The show is just about over, and I still can't believe the stuff that we saw here tonight.
Don't forget to set your recordings to not miss a single figure 8 race here on MAVTV. I'm Jeffrey Best with Tommy Mason from Low Budget TV, and we'll see you at the races.